The leaders of ancient China, they each demonstrate key principles of leadership that are timeless. Leaders who embody their values, inspire trust and loyalty, creating cohesive teams united by shared purpose. Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of The Mammoth in the Room. Nicholas Bocconi, CEO of Mammoth Leadership Sciences. Last week, we talked about how important it is to be open to getting challenged by your team. In fact, that ideally you as a leader invite your people to challenge you and challenge back. To keep this professional friction, to always try to build on another, to allow for the fact that wisely channeled, two brains always know more than one and three more than two, etc., etc. Wisely channeled. So after this episode, I thought, well, how common was it actually in our past to challenge a leader? And I dove a bit into the history of the world, what certain political leaders achieved in different times, in different geographies. And the more I searched, the more I found. And then I decided, why not diving a bit deeper into the political history of the world, looking into great historical figures, look at their achievements, their failures, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and looking for clues what we can learn from these figures who changed the world. So a bit into the direction of leadership meets history, meets science, meets human behavior. Because what if it's all there, just for the taking, as history repeats itself? Just look and learn what others have done and discuss that in relation to the evolutionary science and biology of leadership. All very much in our alley. The question I had, though, was how do I structure that? As political figures lived in different times, different geographies, and had to address different issues, needed to achieve different outcomes depending on where their societies were. And all of this made it a bit incomparable. Here is a solution, though, I came up with. I structured it by geography to show a certain kind of relatedness, at least from a cultural perspective. Maybe in some cases an evolution, a certain kind of continuous build. At least that's the intention. And then I also thought it might be fun and provocative to do this in a countdown fashion. And today we give this a first try. We're embarking on a journey deep into the rich tapestry of ancient China, a civilization that spanned thousands of years, shaped by remarkable dynasties and even more remarkable leaders. This episode ranks the top 5 political figures of ancient China's dynastic era, highlighting their achievements, their flaws, and the timeless lessons they offer to today's leaders. We'll explore how their strategies align with principles of evolutionary psychology and leadership science, and what business leaders can learn from these extraordinary rulers. And just to be clear, extraordinary does not always equal perfect. So buckle up as we count down to the GOAT, the greatest leader of all time from ancient China. And also don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and give me some reviews, either on YouTube or wherever you get your audio podcast from. I also suggest sticking with me to the end, because my GOAT pick might just be a surprise for you. Before we dive in, however, a bit of nomenclature first. CE means Common Era, equivalent to AD, but without the Christian reference. And BCE means before the Common Era. It's the equivalent to BC. Ready to get rolling? Number 5, Emperor Taizong of Tang. He lived from 598 to 649 in the Tang Dynasty, and this is CE, Common Era. Starting the countdown is Emperor Taizong. He is one of the greatest emperors of the Tang Dynasty, often hailed as the model emperor for his enlightening leadership. Taizong came to power after a coup against his father, but his reign brought unprecedented stability and prosperity to China. Under Taizong, the Tang Dynasty expanded its borders significantly thanks to his strategic military campaigns. He reformed government structures, codified laws, and established a meritocratic system of recruitment through civil service examinations. His ability to select and promote capable officials created a foundation for long-lasting governance. Yet, Taizong's legacy is not at all without controversy. His violent path to power, including the killing of rivals within his own family, even cast a shadow over his reign. However, once in power, he demonstrated wisdom and pragmatism, even encouraging his advisors to criticize him openly. And that was a rarity among rulers of his time. So what's the leadership lesson? Well, Taizong's reign exemplifies the importance of strategic foresight and surrounding oneself with capable individuals. Modern leaders can learn the value of meritocracy and the power of inviting honest feedback to avoid blind spots. To explore his life further, check out the Tang Dynasty, China's Golden Age by Mark Edwin Lewis. At number 4 is Emperor Kangxi. He reigned from 1654 to 1722, Common Era, in the Qin Dynasty. And he is the longest reigning emperor in Chinese history, who ascended to the throne at just 8 years old. Kang's reign brought stability to a fractured empire and solidified the Qing Dynasty's place in Chinese history. Kangxi was a masterful diplomat and administrator. He subdued internal rebellions, stabilized border regions, and oversaw economic and cultural flourishing. His patronage of the arts and sciences also fostered intellectual growth, making the Qing court a center of learning and innovation. However, Kangxi's strict enforcement of Qing control alienated segments of the population, particularly those resistant to Manchu rule. Manchu was the ethnic minority Emperor Kangxi descended from. While his policies brought unity, they sometimes stifled dissent and diversity. So what's the leadership lesson? Kangxi's ability to balance diplomacy with discipline offers modern leaders a lesson in managing complexity. His focus on education and cultural development underscores the importance of continuous learning and innovation within organizations. For deeper insights into Kangxi's reign, I can recommend Jonathan Spence's Emperor of China. Self-portrait of Kangxi provides a fascinating glimpse into his leadership. Then number 3. In third place, we have Qin Shi Huang, who lived 259 to 210 before the Common Era in the Qing Dynasty. So Qin Shi Huang is the first emperor of a unified China. Qin Shi Huang's reign was groundbreaking. He ended centuries of warring states and established a centralized empire that would influence China for millennia. Qin standardized weights, measures, currency, and writing, laying the groundwork for economic and cultural cohesion. He's also credited with constructing the first section of the Great Wall of China, protecting the empire from northern invasions. His most iconic legacy remains the awe-inspiring Terracotta Army, symbolizing his immense ambition. Yet, Qin Shi Huang ruled with an iron fist. His harsh legalist policies, heavy taxation, and suppression of intellectual dissent, including the infamous burning of books, earned him a reputation as a ruthless tyrant. His focus on control ultimately led to resentment and rebellion after his death. What's the leadership lesson? Qin Shi Huang teaches the power of bold, decisive action to drive monumental change. And I decided to give him the number 3 because of his ability to unify metrics, currencies, weights, and stuff like that. Very difficult at that time. However, his flaws remind leaders that excessive control and suppression of dissent can undermine even the grandest achievements. And to learn more, there's a book, it's Qin Shi Huang, the First Emperor of China by Francis Wood. It provides a balanced account of his transformative but controversial leadership. Number 2, Confucius, from 551 to 479 before the Common Era in the Zhou Dynasty. While not an emperor, Confucius' influence on Chinese leadership, governance, and society places him firmly as number 2. As a philosopher and statesman during the late Zhou Dynasty, Confucius championed morale, integrity, respect for hierarchy and seniority, something utmost important to stabilize human societies. and the importance of education. His ideas laid the foundation of Confucianism, which shaped Chinese governance for over 2 millennia. Confucius believed that leaders must embody virtue and lead by moral example. His teachings emphasized harmony, duty, and the cultivation of relationships, a vision that transformed not only Chinese leadership, but also Eastern philosophy as a whole. However, Confucius' strict adherence to tradition and hierarchy has faced criticism in modern times for reinforcing rigid social structures. Yet his core principles of ethical leadership and self-cultivation remain timeless. Leadership lesson? Confucius reminds modern leaders that leadership starts with personal integrity. Leaders who embody their values inspire trust and loyalty, creating cohesive teams united by shared purpose. Lead by example. For further exploration, I can suggest the Analects of Confucius. They remain a cornerstone of his teachings. And now, number 1, Wu Zetian, 624 to 705 Common Era, Tang Dynasty. For me, claiming the top spot as the GOAT, the greatest of all times of ancient Chinese leadership, is Wu Zetian, the only female emperor in Chinese history, rising from concubine to empress and finally to emperor. Wu's journey was nothing short of extraordinary. Wu's reigns during the Tang Dynasty marked a period of stability, innovation, and cultural renaissance. She implemented merit-based civil service reforms, ensuring that government positions were filled by capable individuals rather than aristocrats or friends or loyalists. Her policies promoted agriculture, expanded trade, and elevated Buddhism as a unifying cultural force. Yet, Wu's rise to power was marked by ruthless pragmatism. She eliminated rivals and critics, leading to a polarized legacy. Detractors emphasize her political ruthlessness, while supporters celebrate her resilience, strategic brilliance, and visionary leadership. What's the leadership lesson? Well, Wu Zetian embodies the evolutionary principle of adaptability. She navigated rigid hierarchies and overcame extraordinary resistance to leave a lasting legacy. She never made herself a target. Business leaders can learn the value of strategic vision, inclusivity, and rewarding talent based on merit. For a deeper dive into Wu Zetian's life, I can recommend Harry Rothschild's The Empress of Brightness. That's a must-read. Now, what can we learn as modern leaders in our business environment? The leaders of ancient China, Taizong, Kangxi, Qin Shi Huang, Confucius, and Wu Zetian, they each demonstrate key principles of leadership that are timeless: adaptability, moral integrity, long-term planning, strategic thinking. And they also remind us that leadership isn't about perfection. From their flaws, we learn the importance of balancing strength with compassion and vision with pragmatism. As business leaders today, we can replicate their strengths, like Taizong's meritocracy, Confucius' moral leadership, or Wu Zetian's strategic adaptability, while avoiding pitfalls like excessive control or suppression of dissent. Now, leadership lessons from ancient China continue to resonate today, offering a roadmap for navigating the complexities of modern organizations. These were my picks, right? I mean, who in your opinion is the greatest leader from Chinese history? Share your thoughts, join the conversation. All right, thank you for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and share with anyone who's passionate about leadership. Stay tuned for the next week's episode, where we'll dive into the countdown to the GOAT of ancient Roman leadership. And lastly, if you're interested in more, you can order my book. It has the same title as this podcast, The Mammoth in the Room. It offers a practical roadmap how great leaders and their teams embrace evolutionary truths for outstanding business results. And it does that in 3 sections: on people, on strategy, and on implementation. Until next time, lead boldly, lead wisely, and remember, great leaders create enduring legacies. Nicholas Bocconi, The Mammoth in the Room.